is why I think the king has sought the advice. He has spoken to the people who know about these things to see what would be the quickest and easiest way of removing all these titles and stars from his brother. We understood, there was one route through Parliament. It would require an act of Parliament, but there is an alternative method, which it seems is now being enacted. It is a formal process, but what the king is doing is asking the Lord Chancellor to remove the Duke of York from the peerage roll, so it doesn't have to go through the Parliament in the same way as had been discussed, therefore not taking up valuable time in government. So by taking the Duke of York, the dukedom from the peerage roll, that title can't be used officially. Now, as I said, but there is a real distinction here, because before Andrew said he wouldn't use the title, this means he won't have the title to use. So it is an incredible fall from grace. I think we just need to look at the man who was once a global ambassador, a business ambassador for Britain, jetting all around.
In a monarchy that he is going to be taking over and which he wants to be proud of.
Yet it does seem that there will be some kind of appropriate private provision from the king, it is understood. So, however bad relations are, the king now seems to understand that it's going to be up to him to look after Andrew, and that money can't come from Crown money. It can't come from the public purse.
No, because there was a genuine public interest here about Royal Lodge being part of the Crown estate. It does need to be let out, if it's going to be let out, or at a commercial rent. And that does not appear to have been the case by any means over the past 22 years, because the vast part of the profits from the Crown estate go back to the Treasury and therefore fund the things that taxpayers need funded. So there is a public interest here. So he'll be housed privately on the Sandringham estate. There's a very nice farmhouse there, very nice indeed. He'll probably be there, I should think. It's not very far from Sandringham House itself. Maybe in the fullness of time, he will be invited to join the family for very, very private gatherings such as Christmas. I don't know. This is uncharted territory.
And what about Sarah Ferguson and the children, Beatrice and Eugenie?
Well, for the girls, as they're known amongst the royals, it seems clear, well, it is stated that they will keep their titles. It is a very close family. It's going to be enormously hurtful for all of them, obviously, and difficult for all of them, but I think they will remain loyal to their parents. Sarah Ferguson, I don't know where she's going to go. I've always thought that they would go hand in hand into whichever oblivion they were going into. But it seems that there are reports that she wants to go her own way, or they want to go their own way. I don't know. But look, they're grown people. They're grown-ups. They have plenty of money by any normal standards. And they should be able to stand on their own 2 feet. I mean, Andrew really shouldn't need his big brother to look after him financially or in any other way. And neither should Sarah expect that her ex-brother-in-law should fund her way of life.
I guess that some would argue it'd be pretty tricky for them to go out and get normal jobs.
Yes, probably would be, but I cannot imagine they don't have the funds to manage some kind of existence in. I mean, they don't need vast mansions, do they? They can just have, 4 or 5 bedroom, 2 bedrooms houses, actually, probably would be fine. I've said publicly before, perhaps Andrew, who will get £500,000 under the terms of the Crown Estate lease, in reparation for the money he shelled out for the renovation of Royal Lodge. I mean, £500,000, that might buy you a little place in Woking, for example. Nice line in pizzas, that. So, who knows?
Mischievous. We like it, though. Jenny Bond, thank you very much for joining us. Well, if you're just tuning in, let's just remind you of the statement that Buckingham Palace have released this evening. They say, His Majesty has today initiated a formal process to remove the style, title and honours of Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew will now be known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. His lease on the Royal Lodge has to date provided him with legal protection to continue in residence. Formal notice has now been served to surrender the lease, and he will move to alternative private accommodation. These censures are deemed necessary, notwithstanding the fact that he continues to deny the allegations against him. Their Majesties wish to make clear that their thoughts and utmost sympathies have been and will remain with the victims and survivors of any and all forms of abuse. Well, let's return to our panel, who are joining us here in the studio for Politics Hub. Expect Prince Andrew's personality, and how much of a problem do you think that has been in his downfall? No sort of public sense of horror or outrage at actually what was revealed about Epstein, and no sense of humility about it.
I met him a couple of times a long time ago, and he turns up and he's quite affable in a way that a sort of a man educated beyond his intellect can be, and a man without really a proper job, but, seems to be part of the furniture and certain working assumptions. Nothing sort of really offensive about him, but we didn't know then of the associations. And I think what has happened over the years, and there's mounting evidence of this, is that he has really milked that situation for personal gratification, at a financial level to a certain extent, but certainly at other levels as well.
So the princesses Eugenie and Beatrice will not lose their princesses, so they will remain Princess Eugenie and Princess Beatrice. However, Andrew has been stripped of his prince title by the king, and I guess he's not going to move to Harry's old house, the Frogmore Cottage, because originally the king wants him to move to Frogmore Cottage, and then he was demanded to have Frogmore Cottage for him, and then the Adelaide Cottage for his ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson. But this instead, because that one is still owned by the royal crown, I guess, so he cannot live there. So he will be going to King Charles' private home at the Sandringham, which is another gigantic property, and I guess they have some houses in there, and then King Charles will be funded his life from his personal purse. So this is the latest from the Andrew scandal. Andrew and Epstein, Andrew's relationship with Epstein scandal.